So, you cooled down a little bit? Are you calm now, or
I've had 2 weeks to calm down a little bit.
yeah, that was good, man. You were full of energy. It was awesome.
Anybody watching this who's a little lost, this is episode 31, correct? We are recording.
31, yeah.
And Tony's referencing episode 30. So, where I apparently had a lot to share and was passionate about it. And I let Tony have about 3 words over 45 minutes. So, thank you for your flexibility and patience, but I was passionate and had a lot to share.
But you were saying that you might be the only one talking, and I went like this. Well, I guess I'll sit back and listen, but I couldn't do that either.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better.
A week ago today, right? You were tested positive.
I wanted to do the podcast from the ambulance, but they didn't let me do that.
That would have been awesome.
That was the craziest thing that ever happened in my life. It was amazing.
Tell us the story. This is a week ago this morning, right?
Yeah, so in the morning, I'm trying to get out of bed, and I find myself like dizzy and stuff, and I couldn't stand up from the bed. So then I pushed against the bed, but I have those vinyl plank floors, and the bed slid, so I slid into the floor,
Oh,
and I was so weak. I don't know what was going on. I had no strength to get myself up out of the floor.
you're laying on the floor.
Yeah, and I couldn't get up. And so Terry was sleeping in the other room because sometimes she goes in there if I'm snoring too much. And I'm calling her, and she's not answering me. She's still sleeping, I guess. So I was actually on the floor for over an hour, waiting for her to come in and help me. And then she called the ambulance, and I guess they tested me at the hospital. I was positive for COVID,
Uh-huh.
and she'd been positive for like a week and a half at the house here, and I was okay. And all of a sudden, something happened there. I think it was a combination of COVID and vertigo. From time to time, I get vertigo.
Ah, that could be interesting.
Could be. So the doctor and the assistants were very, very, very good. But after a few hours, I said, "Listen, we're going to send you home because we're sick and tired of your jokes."
You're like, yes, I've done it again.
But the doctor was saying, "Man, I'm so glad you were here today because my kids need some of these dad jokes, and you just give me 5 or 6 of them. They were awesome. They're going to love it."
Oh, so the thing, we just blessing people everywhere you go.
It was
It's
amazing.
kind of a life's mission. It's a good life's mission.
So I never experienced anything quite like that. I mean, I couldn't
It
get
was
up.
scary because I didn't know. I got a call from you saying I'm in an ambulance going to the hospital. We didn't know anything. So I'm like, wow, you're obviously going to the right place. Keep me posted. And then later on that night, you're like, I'm headed home, and here's what happened. So wow.
It was crazy. Wow. So
They
by the
do
way,
talk about exhaustion being, some of the early symptoms of COVID. It affects people differently, but perhaps that was part of it.
the guy said, "Whatever it is, your sense of humor is still there." By the way, happy anniversary to your parents today.
Oh, yeah, July 2nd, 1960, my parents got married. I threw something up on Facebook if anybody's interested, but it's funny. I thought about it first thing this morning, but I was going through Facebook earlier, and they show you the memories from a year ago, and I posted that picture of them and a little. I reread this morning what I wrote a year ago. I had forgotten. I'm like, that's kind of nice. They're
Yeah,
celebrating their anniversary in heaven for the first time a year ago. And I did. It was funny. Last year, I just had this visual that they were like dressed as they were in 1960 and like holding hands and running through this field. And I just was like, I don't know. It's funny. Visions are funny things. And, as I've always said as a speaker, we can choose to believe what we want to believe. And so I don't know why so often we choose to believe things that sabotage us, but we can also choose to picture and vision whatever we want to picture and vision. And that one came along for me with my parents. I just loved it. So I forgot about it until I reread it this morning because that was my post a year ago. And of course I posted it again this morning. So thank you.
yeah. So because you've been talking about the Beatles and you know how you become a Beatles fan and stuff, I told you I went to go see Peter Grace, my friend Peter Grace, who's a guitar player, and he's in a band that he does things on the side where it's called the Pineapple Scruffs, and basically
Pineapple Scouts.
it's a few ladies that play ukuleles.
Oh, you did tell me about this.
And so what happens is they play classic rock and in ukuleles. It's so amazing. It's really cool.
So the only instruments on stage are ukuleles.
Yeah, well, Peter had an electric guitar, and there was a woman with the what's it called, a cajon, the box you sit on.
Yeah, yeah, the kind of percussion box.
So the whole thing was a tribute to Paul McCartney's birthday. So they did
which we honored here on our podcast, episode 30.
So they did 4 hours of Beatles. I know I've told you the story about Peter. One time Terry and I were going to old downtown Palm Harbor, historic Palm Harbor, to go get something to eat. And I saw a guy playing a guitar outside. There's like a venue with a bunch of chairs outside and stuff. And there was a guy playing the guitar, but there was nobody there. So instead of going to the restaurant they were going to, I pulled a U-turn to her. He says, "What are you doing?" I says, "Well, there's a guy over there playing a guitar by himself. We can't let him do that."
That's not right.
Not right. So we go down, we sit down and listen to him. And after a song, he says, "Hey, thank you for showing up. You're the only one here."
Thanks for coming.
He says, "If you guys want, I'll give you my set list, and you can just tell me what songs you want to hear instead of listening to me play stuff that maybe you don't like." So we started calling out the songs, and then after every song, he would talk to us, and "Where are you guys from? This and that." So I said, "Well, we're from Massachusetts originally, but where." He says, "Oh, me too. Where are you from?" "New Bedford." So then we started talking, and he's Portuguese, right? So I'm Portuguese and all that stuff. So we had a good time and became friends. And then when my son Josh got engaged, he played at my son's engagement party.
Really?
And I played with him,
Oh,
which is really cool. And these are ukulele people. I mean, that was so awesome, amazing.
that's awesome. And they did and just tons of Beatles and McCartney stuff, huh?
That's all it was. Yeah, that's all it was. Just Beatles all night. 4 hours.
You would send me some pictures from that club. You also sent me a picture of a guy wearing a T-shirt. Get the Let Out Repeat Offender T-shirt.
That's my friend Tom Toscano.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that I took to go see the show.
Oh.
When the ex-drummer was hugging me ridiculously, all that stuff. So Tom was there.
It's funny. We talk about them a lot, and I try to see them almost every chance I get. I got a calendar full of concerts, as we talked about 2 weeks ago on episode 30. I got a new one to add to that because I didn't include one 2 weeks ago because I had a surprise for the keeper last week, which I'll tell you about in a second. But I do not have Get the Let Out on a calendar for me this year yet. That's not right. So.
Oh. Hey, are you a fan of Joe Bonamassa?
Yeah.
So I
don't know a lot of his solo blues stuff, and I think that I don't know because he really strikes me as a guy who wants to be out on his own with his name. But some of the bands he's been in have been really fun. Black Country Communion was amazing with Jason Bonham and Glenn Hughes, and I think Derek Sherinian on keyboards. He's amazing.
So when he was a kid, and his father was a guitar player, and his father gave him a guitar. He started playing, and he wouldn't put it down. And Eric Clapton was his hero.
Really?
So he had this dream of one day playing at Albert Hall in England, in London. And there's a 2-hour show that he did over there. He talks about Eric Clapton. He brings Eric Clapton on stage, and they play a song. It was amazing.
Oh.
That song, Further On Up the Road. I don't know if you know that song, Eric Clapton.
I don't know it by the title, but I probably do.
Yeah, Further On Up the Road, Somebody's Gonna Hurt You Like You Hurt Me. It's a really good blues tune. These guys and they had 2 drummers. The drummers were freaking doing the exact same thing. It was amazing. 2
drummers. When I was in high school, I played in a band. I forget the name of that band. And we had 2 drummers. I remember playing Battle of the Bands in the gymnasium, and there's 7 bands or so, and everybody got, 30 minutes. And Robert Holm, who I'm still in touch with today as a Facebook friend. He and I grew up together in high school in the concert band and the marching band. He was a good drummer. And we played drums together in this band. And we had 2 guitars, bass, singer. Robert was a huge Rolling Stones fan. So I remember we did Satisfaction. I had to play it to come up with the song Satisfaction. And I forget what else we did, but we had 2 drummers. That's interesting.
So what's interesting about the 2 drummers is they're actually playing in unison, which is kind of. But then one drummer from time to time gets instead of the regular sticks, he has the sticks with the balls or whatever, So
Oh yeah, they can change up kind of how they're doing stuff, the different flavors, I guess we'll call that. That's nice.
they're still playing in unison, but it sounds different
Right.
because of the just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, if you play exactly the same thing in unison, it's going to sound different because every drummer is different.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
So I thought of you. I was watching some American Idol auditions, and Lionel Richie said, because one guy was having a tough time with, with something, and Lionel was giving some advice, and he says, "Listen, life begins at the end of your comfort zone." It's pretty good,
Good
huh?
one. Good one.
And he said that one time that B.B. King said to him, "It's kind of hard to sing the blues from the back of a limousine."
That's beautiful. But isn't that true about the comfort zone? Like life meaning new experiences and new awarenesses and new people and new relationships and new opportunities happens outside of our little box, which is our
Yeah,
comfort
yeah.
zone, which is ironically where we're most comfortable, but life is outside of here. It's not necessarily an easy step to do that.
So last week
But it's worth it.
I was at Walmart, right? And I saw this guy.
Speaking of outside of your comfort zone.
So I saw this guy in the produce section that I know. He owns a real nice uh, Italian butcher type of thing. He's like
Oh, yeah.
he makes all these Italian foods. You can go buy him, and it's pre-made. Just a great guy, awesome guy, but very strong Italian accent and all that stuff. And I've known him for a while. And he's kind of funny, and we get along real well. So he's over there at the produce thing, and then I saw him. He had a cart full of groceries, and he walked over to the get some lemons or something and some cucumbers. He left the cart there, so I saw that. I says, "Oh, this is kind of an idea." So I went over and I grabbed the cart, and I took the cart over to where he was. I says, "Hey, Felice, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, Tony, what are you doing over here?" I says, "Oh, I get some groceries." "Oh, forget about it. It's crazy, a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff over here." He says, "So how's the family?" He's telling me how's the family and all that stuff, and just a great guy. And then he had some cucumbers and some lemons and stuff, and lemons and tomatoes. And he went to put them in a cart, but I had his cart. He didn't know I had his cart. And he says, "Oh my God, there's something stupid. They take my cart. I don't know what's the matter with the people over here." I says, "No, we'll put it in my cart." He goes, "I don't want to put it in your cart. I want my cart. I got all kinds of groceries in my cart. Some stupid that took my cart. Oh my God, what am I gonna do?" I says, "Put it in my cart." He says, "I don't want to put it in your cart." He says, "Listen, this is your cart." He says, "Huh?" I says, "This is your cart. You left it over there, and I brought it over to you." He says, "Oh my God, you're so crazy. I don't know what's going on with you." He was funny as heck.
Oh, that is funny.
So this guy, years ago, I think I told you we lived at countryside in Clearwater, one friend area, and his store was pretty close to our house. And Eric used to ride his bike over there with his friends, to get a little ice cream or something.
Yeah.
One day Eric said to him, "Hey, I need a job." Like Eric was 12 years old. He says, "You need a job? What do you need a job for?" He says, "I need to get some money." He says, "For what?" He says, "I want to buy a BMX bike." He says, "Well, you're too young to work." He says, "I can come over here and work. I can, whatever you want me to do. If you want me to sweep the sidewalk, I'll do that. I can sweep inside. If you have cans, in boxes, I can put them in the shelves and put the price on them. Whatever you want, I can do anything." And so he's so impressed with Eric. He says, "Okay, I'll give you a job." So then Eric worked there for a while. And this guy loved Eric. He was like, he was just a ambitious kid, just amazing. But anyway, that's how I got to know him. And I stole his. Then one day I saw him at the gas station. I said, "Hey, buongiorno, buongiorno." I don't know. I don't speak Italian, but I speak not enough words for people to think I do. And he starts talking to me in Italian, and just pretty much everything he said I understood. And I was saying it half to him in Italian, half in Portuguese. We had a conversation. It was so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
12 years old. I need a job.
So one of the things I want to tell you about, because sometimes I'm from the Azores, and we talked about the Joe Perry project.
Right.
I watched that, and you're right. It's like a blues rock type of thing. It's really cool. But his real name was Joseph Anthony Pereira.
Really?
And Pereira is a Portuguese name. My father's middle name is Pereira,
Huh.
and so his family was from the Azores. But a lot of times when the people named Pereira come to America, they change it to Perry. I don't know why. So he's a Portuguese dude. Joe Perry, I mean Steve Perry, is the same thing from the Azores, and his name is Pereira.
Really?
Katy Perry is from the Azores. Her parents are from the Azores, and her name was Pereira.
Uncanny.
And then what do you call it? Nelly Furtado. You know Nelly Furtado?
Yeah, I know the name.
Yeah, she's from the Azores. So all these famous musicians, Nuna Betancourt and Tony Cabral. I mean,
Tony Cabral.
oh, he's the worst of all of them, but still he plays.
Well, I knew him as Tony Perry, but when I dug a little bit, really, his name is Cabral, and he's from the Azores.
That's
Santa
funny, huh?
Maria, I believe.
So the other thing
First island.
I'm from Santa Maria, but they're the other ones. So one time I was at the Betancourt's house in Hudson. This is years ago, back in I don't know, 40 years or so. And there's a couple of the Betancourts up on the third floor because they live in the second on a house on the second floor, and they had three bedrooms up in the attic. And I could hear some guys up there singing. And I said to the mother, "What's going on?" I says, "Oh, go up there. There's somebody that you might know." So I go up there to see who's singing. And Steve Perry was singing with Louie and Robert.
Really?
Yes, so crazy. It was amazing.
That is crazy. My
Wow.
goodness. Yeah, so we had mentioned that. I haven't looked it up anymore because I was not available those dates. And they're not that, well, one date was local, but the Joe Perry Project and Gary Sharon is singing for. So
Yeah.
that could be a cool blues rock thing with Gary's voice. And obviously it's only a three night thing. I think they're 3 nights in a row. And obviously, as we know, Extreme's on tour, but I don't know their schedule. You got any calls? Are they coming to your area?
I trying to find the touring dates. I couldn't find them. I don't know what's going on. But you familiar with this?
Hold on. Let me grab these and try. you know, it's funny. I was thinking about that yesterday, that saying. The day when I talk, it's like, I'm just kidding. I have no.
So you know where that came from, don't you?
I do. Oh, look at that guy. Well, that's hard to see. Also, oh, now both sides of the screen are a little bit in common. I'm missing a sports coat here. But, oh, that's funny.
So here's the thing now. Are you going to Texas?
We're going to what?
Are you going to Dallas?
I can't even read that, but I'm not going to Dallas.
The Revital U?
I am not.
No, okay.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk on that. Before we get off the music, so I surprised Lynn last week, who's both of our favorite Canadian. So today's July 2nd. Yesterday, July 1st, Canada Day. So we should happy belated Canada Day to all of our Canadian viewers and fans. But in honor of and an early birthday gift for her, last Friday, I took her to see Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, wow.
Which was a lot of fun. I mean, we're Americans, so everybody was like, "Oh, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald," and that's about where it ends for us. And it's funny though to be with a Canadian, because she's singing every word to every song, and they find it hysterical that Americans only know that one song.
Huh.
And it was good. He's 82 years old, and so he didn't scamper on stage, but he was a little slow. He's got this great band behind him. They've been together forever. The sound was amazing. The crowd loved it. And they went about an hour and 15 minutes, and I recognized more than I expected to. And it was a ton of fun.
So I have some relatives in British Columbia. Oh, Soyuz, British Columbia. And my cousin.
Columbia.
So one of my cousins.
Province.
One of my cousins used to work at that heavy equipment, like drilling equipment. He was an operator of one of those things, and so he would go up into northern Canada, and he worked there for 6 months every day, 7 days a week. And the only thing he had to worry about was buying cigarettes and booze because everything else was included, and he made good money. But then he would have like 4 or 5 months of the year that he had nothing to do. So I lived in Phoenix. He came to Phoenix to visit us, right? So it's in the middle of January, and I lived in this apartment complex with 3 pools and all palm trees and stuff. He says, "Man, this is so cool, but don't you miss the snow and stuff?" I says, "Well, if I do, it's Flagstaff. I can drive an hour and a half and I'll be in the snow." He goes, "Oh yeah, right." He says, "You don't have the mountains over here like this and stuff." I says, "Yeah." So I had a big Oldsmobile '98, and I had the electric windows, and I had the
A big boat.
I had the electric windows with the thing where you can uh, lock them or whatever. So I says, "We're gonna go for a ride." He goes, "Okay." So I says, "But you don't want to go in shorts and a t-shirt. You need to get a jacket and stuff." He says, "No, I don't. I didn't bring anything like that." I says, "Well, I'll give one of my jackets." So and I told him to put some pants on and stuff, but he didn't want to. So we're driving up to Flagstaff. After about an hour's drive, it started getting a little cold. So he wanted me to put the windows up. I said, "Nope. I told you you need to dress up for it." So then we get to Flagstaff and it's snowing. And he says, "This is so crazy, man. I mean, I see that in Canada, but that's because of the mountain range. But we're not in any
It
mountains."
is crazy.
So then I pulled over in the rest area. Now, by the way, this was a huge rest area because the sign said rest area 20 miles. That's a big rest area right there. So we had a snowball fight. He still had his shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh, I love it.
And he says, "Come on, man, it's cold." I says, "Well, I told you to get dressed for it, but you didn't want to. So now, suffer."
It's funny out west like that. My friend Joe moved out to Los Angeles 30 years ago. JD and the Retro Riders have a new music video out. Remind me to tell you about that. But they get to California, Southern California, and of course the conversations from New England are the Four Seasons, and don't you miss that? It's all sun. He says, we could drive, I forget, 2 or 3 hours and be skiing. And you forget, that. I remember sitting in my friend Bennett's back deck when he lived outside of Denver, Colorado, just a few years ago, and we're sitting on the back deck, and we're dressed in shorts and t-shirts because it was summertime, but you could see the mountaintops and there's snow.
It's crazy, yeah.
Fascinating.
Well, you familiar with an island called Saint Kitts?
Say that again?
Saint Kitts, it's an island.
Yeah, I know it.
So my son Eric, as you know, he's a photographer. He shoots all these famous people. I'm not going to mention their name because maybe I shouldn't, but this one
Tony Cabral. I'll mention one.
Well, this one famous singer, really famous singer, hires him sometimes to go do a shoot for her and the crew and stuff. So she calls him up and says, "Hey, we're in St. Kitts. We're going to have a show in St. Kitts, and I meant to get together. Are you available to come down here and do some shooting for us? Take some photos?" He said, "Yeah." So they fly him down in a private jet, put him at a real nice hotel, and he sat there for 5 days, and he was going around shooting the band and stuff and that kind of stuff in the show.
Wow.
And then after that, they had a show in Miami, so they bring him to Miami and they put him up in a W, which is like one of those really nice hotels. So he sat there for 3 days, and then he takes some shoots of the band and the singer and so on and so forth. And I'm like, what a life this guy has.
What a great gig. And where does he live now?
Well, now he lives in North Carolina.
Okay.
Just temporarily because he bought a house there and he's rehabbing it so he can rent it and stuff.
North Carolina.
He's going to go back to LA. That's where he really wants to be, I guess.
All right.
I always thought he'd end up in Miami somehow, but he loves LA.
He's got quite the resume in terms of his clientele. It's spectacular.
So that thing in LA, he has a friend who's a DJ at one of the most prominent radio stations in LA.
Yeah.
And so he has a degree in sound engineering, so sometimes he goes in and runs the boards and stuff. And he noticed that when people come in, artists come in and they interview them, they take pictures of them and they put pictures on the walls, So he says to this Renee, "Who's in charge of this, about who runs this place?" He goes, "Why?" He says, "I want to talk to whoever it is." So he set him up with a guy who's the big honcho. And he says, "Sir, I want to talk to you about something because I think I might be able to help you a little bit." He says, "Help with what?" He says, "I notice every time that you have artists that come in and get interviewed on a radio show, somebody takes pictures of them and put those pictures on the wall." He goes, "Yeah." He says, "Those pictures aren't doing you any favors and not doing them any favor." I says, "Well, who are you?" He says, "I'm a photographer and I want to show you some of my work so you see if maybe I could do that for you." So he showed him some of the pictures that that you've seen that he takes, and he said, "So what I'll do is I'll do the first shoot, no charge, and I'll print the photos for you and everything, and then if you like it, we can work something out." So the guy goes, "All right, I'll try some." So he has somebody on there. He goes in and does a shoot and show the pictures to the guy that runs the place, and he goes, "Oh my God, these are. I see what you mean. This is much superior to what we've been doing up till now." He goes, "Yeah, because you're probably using a Kodak camera or something. This deserves a real photographer."
Wow.
So he got that gig, and next thing you know, he's shooting all these famous,
And this place is, where is this?
in L.A.
LA. Gutsy too. He kind of just cold called this guy, like, "Hey, I can help."
Yeah, I can help, and I can
Confidence.
I can prove what you're trying to do. And my oldest
You gotta love that confidence. That's awesome.
my oldest son had gone to the New England School of Photography right across from Fenway Park, and he's like a big Red Sox fan, so that was like a dream place for him. And then when Eric joined the Army, they said to him he was doing IT for the Army at Fort Meade. So they said, "Anybody here want to learn how to use a camera?" Eric said, "Yeah, I'll do it. I want to." So they teach him how to use a camera. Next thing you know, they sent him to Afghanistan to be a combat cameraman.
Oh my goodness.
So this is a very interesting story. So sometimes I can talk to him. I says, "So what's going on, Eric?" He says, "Well, I'm traveling around with my platoon. And we're going to all these little villages, to see if there's anything we need to take care of. And the thing is that I have a camera in one hand and I have the rifle on my shoulder, and sometimes I have to put the camera down. It's kind of crazy." Huh?
Oof.
But then, for some reason, he started taking pictures of these little small villages. The children and the older people. Just taking pictures of them without them knowing that he's taking pictures. They weren't posing.
Right.
And he wrote an article called the Emotions of Afghanistan. And the army declassified a bunch of photos so that he could use them. And he won some kind of award for that thing because it was about the emotions of Afghanistan and how people, you could see in their face that they're stress and whatever. And then he had the photos to go along with it. Somehow he won something. And my oldest son, Joshua, would say, "Listen, there's a thing called JPEG Mag Online where photographers submit their photos and they talk about what the settings that they use to get those, that effect. You should put yours on there. Every month they have like a photographer of the month. You should put your photos there." He goes, "Nah, I don't want to do that." Then they thought about it. He says, "Oh, thanks." So he did it. And he submitted that essay with those photos. So Josh was looking to see who the photographer of the month was that month, and it was his brother Eric. He won.
Wow.
Yeah, so crazy, huh?
Crazy.
Wow. Amazing.
Cool stories. My fourth weekend, Independence Day. Proud to be an American.
I know.
What do you got going on? Anything fun happening?
Well, no, I'm still
Down and out.
we got a time already. We got 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
So what do you call it? I'm still positive. I feel great though.
Have you had symptoms this week other than like when you go home from the hospital? Have you been sick this week or no?
No, I'm perfectly fine. I feel fine.
Just positive.
I'm still positive, but I've always been positive.
Be positive. So you're quarantined.
So now here's the deal. I live in Oldsmar, Florida, and the next town over for me is like the Upper Timber Bay separates us from Safety Harbor, and Safety Harbor always does really good fireworks, and so does Oldsmar. But from my house, I can see both of them. I can see to the left, I can see the Oldsmar fireworks, and I can see the one from Safety Harbor. But Terry doesn't like really loud noises. She has a thing called
I don't like loud noises.
no, she has a thing called dyslexia or something. But anyways, loud noises really affect her. Like sometimes she wouldn't even go see us play anymore because she doesn't like the loud noises. So I was gonna go someplace else to see. There's a place downtown Tampa on the river. It's supposed to have the best fireworks going this weekend.
And did they do that on the 4th? Because around here, there's fireworks every night starting yesterday.
Yeah. So, but we're not gonna go.
Right.
I'll just watch it from my house because it's still visually good to see, but not as loud because we're not right there.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. That's it.
Very nice.
What are you doing for 4th of July?
I got no fireworks in my future, but We're getting together with a couple of friends. I'm having lunch with my niece and nephew here in about an hour.
That's good.
Which is nice. And tonight we're having dinner with some dear friends, EJ and Tara. And tomorrow we're getting together with some other friends, Janice and Tom, and just laying low.
Yeah, that's good. Very cool.
Yeah, it was raining early. It's going to rain a little bit later on, but tomorrow's looking really nice. And Monday's going to be okay. So it's all good.
That's all good. I know. Can't do it all the time anyway.
So I've had all this time on my hands for this past few weeks, and I got a few more to go, but I've read a couple of books, and I realized, hey, this is summer, so maybe we should do some summer reading suggestions. I picked up this book only because I was out of books, and this happened to be upstairs in Lynn's attic, but it's a fictional book called Beartown, and there it is right there. It's been a fun read, very compelling. It grabs me, and I'm in. It's got a kind of a hockey town theme to it. I also read a book, not this week, but Stephen King. I've always assumed Stephen King was kind of like the horror writer, but he wrote a really cool book called 11/22/63, which is the date of Kennedy's assassination. And it's a big, thick book like this, and it's fiction, obviously, and it involves some time travel, which somehow was a little bit believable. And this guy determines, I need to go back in time and thwart the JFK assassination because we'd be better off had he lived. Fascinating book. And I read another one I just finished this week, which is nonfiction. It's called Killers of the Flower Moon. And it was all about the 1920s. There was an area out in Oklahoma, Kansas, where the Indians were pushed to, Osage, O-S-A-G-E, and they happened to be pushed onto this land that was rich with oil. And so some of the richest people in our country were these American Indians who were just transplanted there, and the wealth was insane. And so then a small group of people started kind of killing them off to try to get their rights. And so it was about the murders of these Osage Indians, as well as the formation of the FBI as we know it today with J. Edgar Hoover. It was a cool book. If you'd like to learn about some history, that was a good one also.
Wow.
So there you go. We'll culture this thing up a little bit and talk about a couple of books. There you go.
So a friend of mine asked me, they says, so you talk to yourself? I says, oh yeah, I talk to myself all the time because I enjoy listening to a good speaker, and I enjoy speaking to a good listener.
Way to wrap it up. Way to wrap it up. I love it.
Think about wrapping up. So, sometimes comedians do stuff that's like, they say something that's funny, but they shouldn't be saying. Somebody said that Abraham Lincoln, when he got assassinated in the theater there, somebody said this. So besides that, was the play good? Wow.
I think Abraham Lincoln was quoted as saying, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet."
Wow. He was probably right.
Well, Zoom's going to cut us off. So I hope you continue your health journey, and I guess at some point you'll test negative, and then you'll have a few more days and be good, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So enjoy the fireworks from the front yard and get healthy.
I don't have any symptoms at all. I'm fine.
Good.
Except for the little thing still says I'm positive. I've always been positive. I don't want to be negative.
Awesome.
That's
Number 31. Look at us.
Who knew, huh?
Who knew? It should be good for next week too.
So my original buddy from the one that gave us the idea for the no Hissy Fit Zone, he still calls me once in a while. He wants to get together. So he says,
Nice.
"How's that going?" I says, "Well, we've done 30. We're going to be doing 31 this week." He goes, "Holy crap!" I says, "Yeah, I mean, some people do 4 and then they have a hissy fit and it's over." He said, "I know."
Did you?
He says, "I know," but he says, I still love you." I says, "I know, but you just had a hissy fit moment." So I says, "To be honest with you, I want to thank you for what you did, because if it wasn't for you, I never would have been doing a podcast." So
Well, if that's the case, I need to thank him as well.
He's a nice guy.
And so does Jason.
Jason's too funny.
Has he started his all swearing podcast yet?
Well, he's still asking me. He said, "When are we going to do that again?" I says, "Oh, we will." I said, "What we'll do is, I'll put you on the invitation, and then we'll bring you in like 15 minutes later, and we'll let you do 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on how well you behave." He's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, dude, let's wrap this up before Zoom cancels us. Give you a little bit of space to get our theme in there.
I kind of like this.
About this time.
Yeah, we don't need to go 4 hours like Joe.
Like we used to.
Like we used to. Yeah. This is actually a nice little schedule like this. Boom, boom.
I agree. Enjoy the long holiday weekend, my friend.
All right, thank you. You too.
All right. Talk soon.
There we go, buddy.
Enjoy. Take care.
See ya.
See ya.